is Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Coming up after the high five at 5:20, we're going to give you a chance to win those Nuggets Bulls tickets. So please keep yourself here for that. I don't do the teases well. That's not normally my role. Anyway, 5:20 Nuggets Bulls tickets, and then I'm going to give you a chance. We've got eight pair of Mammoth tickets as they take on Calgary on Friday night. Join us there Friday night. And then just a quick reminder, I'd forgotten about this today. I was having lunch with our buddy Jeff Legwald. He's going to cover the NCAA first round. That's at Ball Arena next week. So don't forget, we've got some NCAA basketball action there, the Friday-Sunday slate. How about that? Have you ever attended did you go to basketball games when you were at CSU?
Yeah, a couple times. Moby Madness, that was fun.
Who was the star player of your day?
Jason Smith.
Okay.
He was drafted, I think, a first-round pick. Played in the NBA for, a decade, I think. Maybe with New Orleans or Oklahoma. I don't remember for sure. Who else did I watch? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Honestly, I didn't spend enough time watching other sports like I should have at CSU. In hindsight, I wish I had gone to more volleyball games, more basketball games, because you just didn't realize how entertaining it was.
Kind of had a job to do, though.
Yeah. Sometimes I look back at college, I'm like, how the hell was I even able to function between school and lifting weights and practice and then study halls and group meetings and projects and crap like that? I'm like, wow, I worked really hard back then. I don't think I could do that anymore.
By the way, Tom, when you talked about sitting in the dark, he goes, yeah, you've got kids. We can all relate to that. Maybe a little dark time away from the kids every now and again.
Just some quiet. Just literally the best sound in the world is nothing at all. That's the truth.
You don't get that a lot. All right, real quickly. I want to get into some more Russ stuff because you talked about it. And then, but let's start with this because I've been teasing this. I feel like I got to pay it off. I've been bad about that. Sorry, folks, again. Just kind of doing my unfamiliar role. Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, who are you going after?
I would say Lamar, right? If he's available.
Are you committing $250 million fully guaranteed? Because that's what he wants. If you're making that deal, you got to know that's what the price is.
And he's a running quarterback who struggles throwing from the pocket at times. My goodness, that is quite the gamble.
But, like you just talked about it, you feel like Aaron Rodgers is getting a little, getting a little loose with the mechanics, I guess I'll say.
I do. I think, he's getting a little lazy with his mechanics here at the end. Things that he used to be able to do, throwing off his back foot, getting the distance and the accuracy that he used to enjoy, it's just not there. I'd like to see him get back to stepping into his throws more fundamentally sound at times instead of he just looks like he flips the ball at times. And to me, it comes across as really mechanically lazy. I guess because I was around Peyton, who it was so important to him to throw from the bottom up, from his feet up. So for him to have the longevity to his career, he had to do that. And he really adhered to it his entire career. So to see Rodgers get away from some of his technique is frustrating. But he's in year 19. I mean, I don't. Do you pay him $60 million? You're the Jets. The Jets are going to have to pay him $60 million. I'm reading that he's due literally a bonus of $58.3 million before the season even starts.
Yeah,
that's wild. Are the Jets one Aaron Rodgers away from being a contender?
Well, and then how much longer is he going to play? Like, are you going to give up? I'm curious. Right now, I think Green Bay would just like to. Get out from under the contract, right? Yeah. So, what is that? You giving up a first-round pick? Like, you giving up two? Rodgers may look. Right now, they're not even positive the guy wants to play this year. Right. They're just letting him. The Packers are done with him. That seems to be what's for certain. So they're going to let him at least talk to the Jets as he tries to figure out. So now he knows, okay, my future is going to be in New York. Do I want to get up and leave? And I'd probably go after Jackson, but $250 million guaranteed. $250 million guaranteed.
It's almost as bad as 170 guaranteed.
Whose contract is that, Joel?
Are we talking about Russ's?
All right.
Russ is what 250 with 170 guaranteed or something like that.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a huge chunk of money, and they really can't get out from under this. Although I believe if next year looks like last year, they probably give him his money and say basta, right? You have to, don't you?
If it doesn't get corrected very quickly with Sean Payton, I think that experiment runs its course in 2 years.
Okay, you were a guy. I've heard. For some reason I know a lot of offensive dudes. What did you expect out of your quarterback as far as socialization and just being around and available in the locker room? Because you brought up the office, and the office became a huge talking point. Mm-hmm. But, look, I had heard Peyton had an office. Difference was Peyton was winning, so nobody cared, right?
Exactly. If Russ, goes 11-6 this year and they make the playoffs, it's a moot point. It's a moot point. We would be kissing his butt for having that office and saying, "Oh, look how hard Russ has worked and he's changed the culture of the entire organization." That's what the narrative would be. But when you don't produce, when you are one of the main reasons that this team struggled, it's just a bad look, I guess.
So should he be in the locker room more around his teammates? Should he not be what is he? Because the quarterback still needs to kind of be the dude in charge of things, right?
Yeah, his presence needs to be felt in the locker room where the mass of the team is. I suspect if he was in his office, it should have been either early morning or after hours, after guys go home at night, and he was doing his own private studies in that space so he wasn't distracted at his own house. That's what I like to think that he was using that office for. Otherwise, I'm not super clear on why he needed that space at the facility. Each position group has their own dedicated room. Tight ends, wide receivers, defensive backs. They have their own room. I treated the tight end room as my own office, right? After practice was over, that's where I was going to finish my studies, to do my tight end test, to watch tape. Why can't he just go to the quarterback room? I'm not sure why he couldn't just do that.
There's a lot of things we don't have answers for, Joel. I
right.
mean,
but the only reason it became a talking point is because his performance didn't match up with that kind of demand, I would say.
All right. Tyler Columbus has famously said, unless you're Peyton Manning and it's your offense, the throwing camps are stupid. As a guy that went and did the throwing camps, because you were a tight end and, tight ends, receivers, everybody gets together, how necessary, because that's going to be a big deal coming up this year. I'd love to have you back in at some point, and maybe we could talk about it as we get closer, but I'm curious as a guy that's had to live through it. How productive are the off-season quarterback let's get together in San Diego stuff? And should Russ do it again? Or should he wait and get the playbook this time? What do you think he should do?
I don't think those throwing sessions mean jack crap.
Okay.
Honestly, that's stuff you're supposed to be doing anyways. The attention that it gets it's
a talking point for radio.
Yes, sir. Exactly. But I don't think there should be a whole lot of emphasis on it. I mean, guys get together. Is it important to run routes on air and get timing down and things like that? Yeah, it is. But you're not mimicking a real game situation. It's fun to get together with guys in a different city and go work out for 90 minutes, 2 hours, and then go have some beers afterwards and build rapport and get to know each other on a personal level. That's a lot of fun. I think there is incredible value in that. But to say that this has to happen, that he needs to, where was this place at, in Tampa or something like that?
San Diego. He had his sweet little, it was a sweet field. His logo was in the
amazing.
middle of it.
Yeah, it looked...
Some money was put into it, that's for sure. A
little self-indulgent, narcissistic almost, right? I guess you could say that. But if he's really all about ball, he has his own little facility. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
It is.
I'd be excited to go spend some time there and run some routes on air.
Okay. But don't you need to know what your offense is? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure they put this together. That was the one thing I said with Manning, and this is why I was always in agreement with Tyler. With Manning, it was his offense, it felt like. It was his passing route, right? His tree, anyway, wasn't it? So
there's basic stuff you can do.
Okay.
There's hundreds, I shouldn't say hundreds, there's 20-plus routes that are standard. That they will not change. You could go run those on air, even though he hasn't had any meetings with Sean Payton or installed any kind of offense yet. He could go run those routes with guys and get better.
But shouldn't he do it with a line? With all due respect, with what we saw last year, Like, I'm concerned about your blind spot. You don't seem to see through guys well enough, right?
I'm
You
concerned.
can run the route, but show me that you can see the route.
Yes. I'm concerned with his pocket presence. Like, that's what made him special in Seattle, was his escapability, this ability to extend plays. And you saw him, he looked like a statue at times in the pocket. No more glaring of an example. I can picture it vividly. That game against the Chargers, it's 4th down. The tight end runs right over the ball. He's literally has his hands up saying, Russ, throw me the ball for a 1st down, and we might be able to win this ball game. Instead, Russ like backs up and takes a sack on 4th down. At that moment, I wanted to pull my hair out. I was like, this is the opposite of elite quarterback play. Freaking Tebow could have done that, you know? So, like, I was frustrated with Russ all season. He just from a fundamental standpoint, blitz recognition, getting rid of the ball, pocket presence, it was lacking in a big way.
All right, we've got to take our break. We're going to come back. We're going to get to the high five. We're going to play some of Charles Barkley's comments to the morning show about Kendrick Perkins just continuing to dig in further and further on this MVP debate. And we've got your Nuggets and Bulls tickets coming up about 5:20 ahead on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.